Why some people never really leave you, but never fully stay. Have you ever had this experience? They say, I'm not ready for a relationship right now. I think we should take a break. You deserve better than me. So you cry, you journal, you talk to friends, you start trying to move on. You delete the chat once, maybe twice. And just when your chest starts to feel a little lighter, your phone lights up. Hey stranger, I was just thinking about you. I miss your voice. Suddenly, they're back. Liking your stories, sending late-night messages, telling you no one understands them like you do. But when you ask, so what are we? What do you actually want with me? Everything gets foggy again. They don't fully commit. They don't fully disappear. They just keep you in this strange space where you're never really chosen, but never really free. If that feels painfully familiar, I want you to know this. You're not desperate. You're not stupid. You're caught inside a very specific psychological structure. Today, we're going to break down the psychology of people who never really leave you, but never fully stay, using ideas from John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth's attachment theory, B.F. Skinner's work on reward and behavior, Daniel Kahneman's research on loss, and Leon Festinger's theory of cognitive dissonance. And then, at the end, I'll give you a set of clear, realistic guidelines for what to actually do if this is happening in your life right now. This is Meta Insight Hub, where we don't just look at what people do, we look at the source code of the mind underneath it. Naming the pattern. Let's give this a name. This is the pattern of someone who doesn't want to lose access to you, but doesn't want to fully choose you either. They'll say things like, I care about you so much, I'm just not in the right place right now. I don't want anyone else to have you, but I don't know what I can offer. So they keep the emotional door half open, keep your hope half alive, and keep their responsibility very, very low. You end up living in the almost. Almost together, almost broken up, almost moving on. The question is, why? Let's start with the attachment system. Structure 1, attachment conflict. John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, who developed attachment theory, showed that our early relationships create internal templates for closeness. Some people grow up with relationships that feel safe, predictable, stable. Their nervous system learns, closeness is mostly safe. People come back, I can relax. Others grow up with inconsistency, emotional distance, criticism, or parents who were there physically but not emotionally. Their nervous system learns, if I get too close, I'll get hurt, controlled, or abandoned. As adults, this can look like what's often called a fearful avoidant pattern. I want intimacy, but intimacy also terrifies me. So when you get closer, when you become more available, when they sense your investment, their system quietly panics. They might not say, my childhood attachment system just activated. They just feel, this is too much, I need space. So they pull back, create distance, or even end things entirely. But when they feel you detach, when the messages stop, or they see you living your life without them, a different fear wakes up, the fear of loss. What if I really lose them? What if no one else will love me like that? What if I made a mistake? So they come back. Not because they have resolved their attachment conflict, but because a different fear temporarily took over. Fear of closeness, they leave. Fear of loss, they return. You are standing in the middle of that swing. Structure 2, loss aversion and ego. Now let's bring in Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, two psychologists who studied how we make decisions. One of their key findings is loss aversion. We feel the pain of losing something more strongly than the pleasure of gaining it. Apply that to relationships. While they have you, they're hyper-focusing on your flaws, the conflicts, the effort it takes to show up for you, the discomfort of commitment. The costs feel very loud. Once they push you away, once there's silence, once you stop orbiting them, suddenly loss becomes real. They start to feel the loss of your attention, the loss of your emotional support, the loss of being the person you always chose. Their ego wakes up and says, wait, did I throw away something rare? What if someone else gets them? I don't want to be the one who lost this. So they come back to relieve their own discomfort around loss and regret. Sometimes they're not in love with you as a whole person. They're in love with how it feels not to lose you. Structure 3, intermittent reinforcement. Now let's talk about your brain. B.F. Skinner, one of the founders of behaviorism, showed that the most addictive reward schedule is not constant reward, but intermittent reward. The same pattern used in slot machines and many games. You don't win every time. You win sometimes, just enough to keep you hooked. In your connection with this person, you don't receive steady affection, consistent presence, reliable commitment. Instead, you get silence for days, emotional distance, mixed messages, and then suddenly, I miss you. I still think about you. There's no one like you. Those rare moments of emotional intensity hit your system like a jackpot. Your brain records them with high priority. This is proof they do care. If I'm just patient enough, we can get back to this version of them. So you're not attached to the overall pattern, because if you look at the whole pattern, it's painful and inconsistent. You're attached to the occasional high that arise unpredictably. That's how a relationship can start to feel less like love and more like an emotional addiction. Structure 4. Cognitive dissonance and self-blame. Leon Festinger's theory of cognitive dissonance explains what happens when we hold two conflicting truths. For you, those two truths might be, this situation hurts me, I'm still here. That creates psychological tension. To reduce that tension, your mind often turns against you. Instead of thinking, maybe they are not capable of giving me what I deserve, it becomes, maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm not patient enough. Maybe I'm the problem, too needy, too emotional. That self-blame is painful, but it's also a way to keep the relationship alive. If the problem is you, then the fantasy says, if I just fix myself, this situation will become the love I want. So you stay, you work harder, you tolerate more. And the person who can't fully commit gets to keep you close without deeply changing anything. Structure 5. Why you stay in this pattern. So why do you stay in this dynamic? It's rarely because you're foolish. Often it's because your attachment history taught you that anxious, unstable love feels like home. Intermittent reinforcement has wired your brain to chase the next emotional high. Loss aversion makes you terrified of walking away from everything you've already invested. Cognitive dissonance pushes you to blame yourself instead of the system. And if you've already experienced emotional neglect or abandonment earlier in life, the fear of letting go can feel like reliving that original wound. You're not weak. You're in a structure that was built to keep you there. Now let's talk about how to step out of it. What can you actually do? Realistic guidelines. This is not therapy, and I can't see your full situation from here. But I want to offer concrete steps you can start considering if you're dealing with someone who never really leaves but never fully stay. Dora. Write this somewhere private. This person keeps contact with me but avoids consistent commitment. When your brain tries to romanticize it, they're just confused. They're complicated. Bring it back to that sentence. You're not judging. You're describing. Structure 2. Shift the question you're asking. Instead of, do they have feelings for me? Ask, are they able and willing to build something stable with me? Plenty of people have feelings. Not everyone has capacity. Feelings are not the same as reliability. Structure 3. Invite clarity instead of passively waiting. You don't have to explode or beg. You can say something simple like, I care about you and I enjoy our connection, but I've noticed we stay in this almost relationship space. I'm looking for something more consistent. What are you actually able to offer? Two things matter: the content of their answer and whether their behavior changes afterwards. If they minimize your feelings, call you dramatic or too much, or give vague answers like, let's just see where things go, while continuing the same pattern, that is your answer. Structure 4. Set a quiet limit for yourself. You don't need to threaten them with ultimatums, but for your own sanity, you can decide, if this pattern doesn't change within the next X weeks or months, I will begin to step back. Stepping back might mean slowing down your replies, stopping late-night emotional talks, not dropping everything when they suddenly miss you, or eventually going no contact if the pattern is deeply harming you. You're not punishing them, you're protecting yourself. Structure 5. Rebuild your world outside of them. People who keep you in the almost often benefit from the fact that your emotional world revolves around them. To weaken the trauma-like bond, you need other sources of connection and meaning. Friends you can be honest with, hobbies that reconnect you with yourself, support spaces, therapy, support groups, community. The more your life is filled with other bonds, the less gravitational pull this one unstable connection will have. 6. Remember, mixed signals are signals. When someone repeatedly says, I'm not ready but I don't want to lose you, what they are really saying is, I want the emotional benefits of you, without the full responsibility of choosing you. You're allowed to say, that's not enough for me. Wanting clarity and commitment doesn't make you too much. It makes you honest about your nervous system and what it needs to feel safe. Rewriting your role. If someone has kept you in this cycle, never fully here, never fully gone, I want you to hear this. You are not unlovable because they can't choose. Their confusion doesn't mean you lack value. It often means they're fighting their own attachment wounds. They're afraid of loss but also afraid of depth. Or they are simply not ready for the level of relationship you are built for. You are allowed to decide that your heart is not a waiting room for someone who refuses to walk through the door. You are allowed to want consistency, clarity, and a love that doesn't keep you in limbo. This is Meta Insight Hub. If this video helped you see your situation a little more clearly, leave a like so more people can find it. Subscribe if you want more psychology on trauma bonds, attachment, and real-life relationships. And if you feel safe, share a bit of your story in the comments. You don't have to untangle these patterns alone. We can keep decoding the source code of your mind and your relationships together.